let's talk about what I eat in a day. And if you're new here, just a little context about what my life is like. I am 42, gonna be 43 in January, and I have 5 kids, 4 that I birthed, and then 1 step kiddo. So I've got a very busy life, and I also am a creator, and I do consulting and social media management. So very busy, lots of driving kids everywhere and wearing many hats. I am married to Ben, who is my absolute soulmate, and we have a very wonderful life together. He also works from home, so we're together a lot. We're very we plan all of the meals and everything together, which I've recently shared a grocery haul, and I talk a lot about how we do that meal planning and everything there. So today I wanted to share exactly what I eat in a day. I have stuff. I have a very fickle body, so there's things that I always need to kind of keep in mind when I'm eating. I have SIBO, so which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and that can cause a lot of discomfort, bloating and pain. So I have to be really careful, especially around fructose. So I typically focus on the low FODMAP diet. So like, I really don't do well with garlic, less onion. I have to be careful with my veggies. So mostly cooked veggies, but I do well with salads. And then I'm lactose intolerant. I do still have some dairy, but I will take a lactose pill when I have that. I take a HCl pill when I'm eating to help with digestion. It helps just break it down. So that helps with my digestive issues. I also have Vasovagal. So I was diagnosed with that about a year ago. I was getting these dizzy spells and heart palpitations and just lots of pre-syncope, and then I actually had syncope, so I fainted. And so the doctors recommended I increase my salt intake. So I'll have olives as a snack, and I also try to work electrolytes into my diet. I am also a migraine sufferer, so I keep that in mind too when I'm eating. Because what I do is I really try to make my food work for me. And I'm telling you, I'm not always perfect. Like, I will go through phases where I'm not eating that well. In fact, there was quite a long stretch there. We were moving, and then lots of life stuff going on. And then once we moved, it was like Thanksgiving, Halloween, Ben's birthday. So like lots of sweets and stuff. So, but I feel it immediately when I'm eating junk, especially sugar. I will break out. I will get really bad pain. I also get diverticulitis from time to time. I was first diagnosed with that in 2018. I had a really bad spell of that. And I've had it a handful of times since, especially quite a flare-up last winter. And so I've realized that there's certain things that make it worse, and I do kind of have my prescription on hand if I need it. Antibiotics have always healed it, but I've talked to doctors and worked with them, and I've learned how to pick out the warning signs and heal my gut myself when I have a flare-up. So I'll probably do a more detailed video about diverticulitis another time, because I know that there's some people who have found me through my previous diverticulitis videos. So when we talk about eating, I'm really trying to kind of increase my protein, keep some calories low, really just think about everything I'm eating, like really fuel my body. So, and especially as someone who is in their 40s and perimenopause, I have to keep that in mind as well. I have been open about it. I do take HRT, so that helps, hormone replacement with that, but I am very mindful when eating. So let's start at the very beginning of the day. I set my alarm every day for 5:30. I am a total morning person, and I love my oatmeal. I use the Quaker Quick Oats. I just water and then microwave it. It's not the kind that has the added sugar, but it's very quick to cook. Then I take a spoonful of natural peanut butter and let that melt in there. I'll add a generous amount of cinnamon. And then I used to always use fresh blueberries, but now I use frozen blueberries for 2 reasons. One, it is way more cost effective. So I buy the big bulk kind, and then I just pour it in a bowl, add hot water to it to defrost a bit, and then put it onto my oatmeal. But also, I've been reading studies about how frozen berries actually are healthier for you. So I don't know how much weight there is to that, but I've heard that quite a few times recently. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. I had already been eating them. So I have that every morning for breakfast with a coffee. I add some almond milk to it, and what I do now, and this is something I started about a month ago, and it's been a game changer for me, this is kind of to do with aging, is it's a very big helping, and I used to eat it all at once. Now I cut it in half, so I stop halfway through it, cover it up, and I put it in the fridge for my mid-morning snack. So I eat half of that and with some water and my coffee and get on my way. So then this morning I had it and I dropped my kids off, I went to the gym, I had my electrolytes, huge for me, especially at the gym, but I really find that sometimes I can feel really tired or hungry or just dizzy. If I have electrolytes, I feel amazing. So I highly recommend them for probably everybody, but it is a game changer for me. So then I came home, I took out my oatmeal, microwaved it a bit, and then I add a whole bunch of high protein plain Greek yogurt to it. This is a great way to get some protein in me. So I'll add like 3 heaping tablespoons. I'll take a lactose pill with that. And then I also make a protein coffee. So I got this idea from Dr. Stacy Sims. She was on the Mel Robbins podcast and they were talking about this, and I'm like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. And it is so good. I look forward to it. It's like a dessert. I like dessert type things. So it's a scoop of vanilla protein powder. I make a coffee, I add that, I add a little bit of almond milk and blend it, and it is so yummy. So again, a lot of protein in that meal. And I recently found out that if you have a higher amount of protein earlier in the day, it can prevent migraines. And I was thinking about it and I realized I have way less migraines since I've started this routine. So I'm wondering if the two are correlated. So the Greek yogurt in this oatmeal also helps me with my gut because of my SIBO and just my gut stuff. Sometimes things can like really go through me, and that just kind of helps slow things down. So I really find that is great to be mixed into my food. So that would be around 10 a.m. that I'd have that. Then around 1 o'clock, I start getting hungry again. So this is where I try to get some veggies into me. So I'll take a whole wheat wrap, add some hummus. I really like the President's Choice hummus. That's my favorite one. So spread some hummus on there. Then I add the pre-shredded carrots, a quarter of an avocado, some fresh mint, and a whole bunch of iceberg lettuce. Roll that up. That's my wrap. I'll have that typically with another coffee and with some water. But the thing that I like, I have a sweet tooth, and I can get into a habit of like wanting something sweet, especially after lunch and especially after dinner, that it's the switch that turns my brain off from eating. I'm pretty sensitive with sugar. And so if I have too much sugar, all these problems start happening. Digestive stuff, my skin starts breaking out, especially my temples. And that can really be one of the biggest triggers for my diverticulitis. So a while back, and I recently got back to it, switched to having dates. So I'll have maybe 2 dates after my lunch, my wrap, and then 2 dates after dinner. And it's just a great source of fiber, and it just triggers my brain like, ooh, there's my dessert, there's my sweet thing, I'm done. I can stop eating. You can add cashew butter or almond butter to it on top, and it's even that much better. I'm just trying right now to keep my calories a little lower. I'm just having some goals after having such bad eating habits for a while. So that's what I'll have after my lunch and then my dinner. So typically I'll be making meals for 7 of us, and I'll try to have a small portion of what I make everybody, because often it's not like it gets healthy, but it's like family friendly. I like ultra healthy, and I don't think they would like what I like. So I'll have a small amount of that and a big salad. But tonight is Wednesday. My kids are out with their dad on Wednesday. We don't have Ben's kiddo today. Ben has already requested that I please make him a grilled cheese and tomato soup. Happy to make him that. Tonight I'm having fish. I'm using up some zucchini we have left over, so I'm gonna saute that. Then I'm gonna have some roasted sweet potato. Sweet potato is like so good for us and so good for aging. And then a salad with that, and again, my 2 dates. So that would be what I have in a day. I'll often have a third coffee later in the day. I was having 4 coffees a day, but it's so much caffeine and it's so expensive. So I'm trying to cut down to 3 right now. If I can get back to 2, that would be amazing. So I'll typically have another coffee, have my 2 dates, and I'm on my way. Sometimes I will have a snack. Lately, I've found when I take my progesterone and magnesium at bedtime, it like kind of does not sit well in my stomach. So last night I had 2 crackers with peanut butter on it and it just helped. So maybe I'll have something like that, but I'm really trying to cut out evening snacking. It's probably something that is, yes, it's about habit in terms of like extra calories, but it's not just that. It's like really can mess with my gut, especially before bed. So that is something I've been successfully working on lately. So that is everything I eat in a day. That's a pretty typical day. I just found the way that I've been breaking up my breakfast, second breakfast, my lunch, and my little like sweets and dates and things like that really helpful. And a couple of tips for some quick snacks that are really great, especially for women of our age, is a handful of walnuts, almonds, so try to get some nuts, again, those proteins. But I find if I have walnuts, it can really trick my brain into thinking I'm having something that is like very, like it's just a little more satisfying than say almonds. I really try to work nuts in, and I know some people might say, oh no, do not have nuts if you have diverticulitis. There is a lot of different opinions out there about diverticulitis, and from trial and error for myself, I know that it's not something like nuts that can cause it. It is mostly too much alcohol, too much fried food, too much sugar. That is what causes it, because if I trace back to every single flare-up, it's been from those things. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you subscribe and let me know, is there anything else you want me to share on here or elaborate? Anything about wellness stuff or health? I'd love to hear from you. All right, see you soon. Bye.